I want to introduce Hannah Pick. She was born in Germany. She lives today here in Jerusalem. And she's only going to tell us a very short part of her story. She doesn't like me. She's mad at me even before she begins. So I always tell her only part of the story, so we can have time also. See, she's already making faces. But her fine is
very hard.
Yes.
But she also accepts the fact that there are certain things we've asked her to do that are contextualized here within the seminar. And we're going to leave time for questions. You can ask her anything you want in the question and answer period. And
I don't have to answer anything.
you don't have to answer. She's very disciplined. Hannah, please.
Okay, so my name is Hannah Pick. I was born in Berlin. And my father was one of the two highest Jewish officials in the German government. He was an advisor to the Minister of Domestic Affairs and Chief of the Press. But the moment Hitler was chosen to power 1933, the whole government had to step down, and my father was not taken back, and he took me and my mother to England. We didn't stay in England, that's a bad thing. My father was an economist and he got offered a very good job in England, but he, okay, I have to tell before, he was brought up in an all-assimilated Jewish family, and in the First World War he was sent to Poland. He was a single child, and then he met these big religious families, and he was so overwhelmed that he went to be a religious man. And in the German government, he would not work at the Shabbat, at Saturday. He would come in, would see what was there with the mill, would go to synagogue, and Sunday all alone he would sit and work. And now in England, he was, as an economist, offered a very good job with Unilever, but when he told them he cannot work at the Saturdays, they said, goodbye, we don't need you. And then we still could have gone all to this country, then Palestine or to America, but my parents went to the wrong direction, we went to Holland. But who could know 1933 or 4 what will be several years later. In Holland, my parents rented a 3-room apartment, and there they opened a little office where we lived. The purpose of the office was to help all the refugees my father was sure will come from Germany. In the beginning, the borders were still open in several countries, and then less and less, and he could help them sometimes settle down in Holland. And now, first week in Holland, mother takes me to the grocery shop. We met another very nice lady with a little girl, and it was Mrs. Frank with her daughter Anne. And it came out, we lived entrance next to entrance. The lady spoke in German, nobody knew Dutch at that time. And several days later, mother brings me to kindergarten. I don't know the language, I don't know anybody. But I saw that little girl from the grocery shop. She had a stick, she was making music on little bells. And the moment she finished, she saw me, she ran in my arms, and from that moment we were friends. She also didn't know anybody and not the language, but she knew me already from the grocery shop. So through us, our parents also went to be very good friends. And in Holland we had quite a normal life. We were together at this kindergarten and later at the Montessori school. And later we had to be 1 year in a Jewish school. When Hitler occupied Holland, we had all to leave our schools, and they opened schools only for Jewish children with Jewish teachers. Sundays, very often Mr. Frank also would work, and when I was lucky, he would take me also. That was always very nice. And we would put a little bit water, people in the street, we would play with the telephone and so on. Mr. Frank was a very nice man. He also, after the war, got a lot of letters from young German people, and he would see to it to answer every letter himself. At night he always would drink beer. My father never drank beer. And he would joke with us. He would put a little in his glass. And he always stopped before it was streaming over. That's the only unnice thing I remember of him. Mrs. Frank, look, every Jewish girl in Germany had a profession. But in Holland, Mrs. Frank didn't work, so I don't know what she learned. She was a very good housewife, and that's all what I can tell you about her. Then there were two girls, Anna and, no? Margot?
Margot.
Margot, yeah. You are from Holland? There you say Margot. Okay. Margot was a girl that every mother would like at her home. Very obedient, excellent at school, and nice looking. Anna and me were exactly the other way around. Anna always wanted attention. And to get attention, she could do something. She could take out her shoulder out of the socket. And that can be very dangerous. But she could do this, and then everybody would look at her. You couldn't see it, but you would hear it. And then she was very, very happy. She also always had a notebook with her. And when we all had to go out in the garden in the breaks between the classes, she would try to stay inside. Then she would shield like this, and she would write and write. It was not the diary, the famous diary. She only got when 3 weeks before they went into hiding. But she left us also stories, and maybe then she already started to write them about children. Only things that she thought was not taken care of properly in this world. Poor children, colored children, sick children. Every story had a message, but it was a nice story. And my mother always would say about Anna, God knows everything, but Anna knows everything better. And that you see, if you, I hope you all read the diary. Yeah. If not, when you go. Okay. So in the beginning, everything was okay. And then first, the Second World War starts in '39. And in Holland, the occupation started between 10th till 15th of May 1940. At the beginning, nothing changed. I learned later in Poland, the first day when the Germans occupied Poland, it started with the laws against the Jewish people.